What is good, team? We are in for the final session of this peak week. Tomorrow being weigh-ins, Sunday being show. So today is the last little opportunity just to get a pump off the back of these two really low, like carb depletion, fat load days before we push some carbs in today. So the general rationale here is just like a little further depletion, but also to upregulate carbohydrate reabsorption. So by training, we sort of initiate that process to shuttle those carbohydrates to be stored as muscle glycogen or intramuscular glycogen stores, which is exactly what we want. So we want to increase fullness and we want the carbs to go to all the right places. So pretty simple session. It's just basically a couple of working sets of push-pull, like chest back, arms and delts really. So I think we've only got about like 10 or 12 working sets. 3 to 4 RIR, nothing crazy, 10 to 15 reps. So just enough to kind of get a nice pump, get some stimulus, and then get some food in. And then we head off to Sydney, got our first coat of tan, haircut, eyebrow appointment, check in an Airbnb, get settled, and then weigh-ins, tan tomorrow, and then we get organized for the rest of the weekend for show on Sunday. But I'll take you guys through the session. It'll be a quick one. Probably not much talking from me, just trying to get in, get out, get a pump, and then we'll eat some food. Wow, 2 down, 1 to go. But certainly interesting. Like, I've had, what, 150 grams of carbs per day over the last 2 days, about 120 grams of fat. So it's essentially been very low carb, high fat, almost like keto-esque. But it's crazy to note how good I feel. Maybe not mentally, just a little bit cooked, to be honest, but body feels good, man. It's crazy, like thin skin, like really, really tight, really, really sharp, and super vascular, which is like on no food. Super cool to see. But I guess even just looking at it anecdotally, like it really plays into how well hydration and sodium status really affects the look. I think far too many people overdo the carbohydrates thinking they need way more carbs to fill out, when in reality a lot of it is probably just hydration, sodium manipulation to an extent, or lack thereof manipulating, so keeping things static and just staying hydrated, because I've been having like 4.5 liters each day over the last couple of days with no carbs. Sodium's been static. This is the hardest, driest, sharpest that I've ever looked, so certainly cannot complain about that. All right, so on to chest. 3 sets incline machine press with seated machine flies. Doing these is just like paired sets, so I'll do my 10 to 15 reps here, rest about 30 to 60 seconds, go over to my flies. Again, like the point of this session isn't to absolutely annihilate myself, just to get a pump, just to get some good stimulus. Using those supersets is more just like a time efficient training strategy, because performance isn't really the main goal of this session. It's really just to get a pump. So load isn't too heavy. We're not like trying to break any PBs. It's really just to get some blood moving and allow those carbohydrates to do their thing. So we'll get stuck in here. First set, 10 to 15 reps. Wrapping this up with a tricep, delt, biceps, triceps, just 2 working sets, 10 to 15 reps. And one thing to note here is, like, even though this session is modified, it's just pretty much like an upper body pump session, still using the same exercises. So I haven't changed exercises, not doing anything different to cause any like excessive muscle damage or fatigue or risk of injury for that matter. So basically just doing the same stuff, just a condensed version of my normal sessions. So this is just my normal standing cable lateral raise. I'll do a crossbody push down and I'll do a preacher curl. Just gonna do these in succession, back to back, short rest in between each one. 10 to 15 reps. All right, one round down, one to go, and we are done. Pretty quick session. Did about 15 minutes of cardio or steps. Still gonna hit my step target today, and we've got lots of driving to do, so try and get that done. Done about 5,000 steps. This session's taken us about 30 minutes in total, including filming. So nice little easy one to get it done. Then we hit the road and get first meal in, which is actually like one of my favorite meals now. It's like when you're on prep, you start making all these wacky food combinations that you think are the best thing in the world, and then once you've got calories back and eat normal food, it's probably not that exciting, but I actually really like it. Cooked white rice with some rice milk cooked through it, so that you end up just like reheating in the microwave, so it becomes like rice porridge. Some chicken and some banana with some cinnamon. Delicious, and a bit of salt. But I'll get that one stuck in after training, and then we've probably got like 3 carb meals in total this morning, just to try and front load a bit of the carbohydrate intake early part of the day, taper off towards the back end of the day, drop food volume, let a bit of fluid drop off, just in time for weighing tomorrow. So got about 24 hours to kind of let that food settle before we need to make weight. And then depending on how the look is, how we're feeling, we may top up some more glycogen, bit extra carbs after weighing. If not, we might just leave it there and roll through, because very happy with how the physique looks, and I'm happy to walk this on stage the way we are currently. That is us done and dusted for this session, guys. So I'll give you a little sneak preview. Certainly a lot of changes happen when you have some fluid, some sodium, and you get a pump compared to my fasted AM check-in. So we'll see how this looks with a bit of a pump, and we'll get some food rolling in after we leave here. like that. See you guys next time.